All right, so hey guys, Rob here with Flea Market Flipper, and we are joined by Anthony Fry today. He is actually stepping in and going to give us a little bit of his history, his background with flipping. He's gone through our Flipper University course, and yeah, he's been doing pretty well. So I'm actually going to hand it over to him, let him give you a little bit of his background, his personal life, stuff like that, and then we'll get into a couple questions and go from there. So, Anthony, please give me some of your background, some of your family life, stuff like that, about you, pretty much.
Cool. Well, first, yeah, thanks for having me tonight. Super excited, and hopefully I can provide some insight tonight for some people. But yeah, name's Anthony Fry, and I'm a part-time reseller. I'm pretty new to the game. I'm about a year and a half in, but I've really been taking it serious this year for about 4 months now. Started in April. So, but my day job is I work as a sales rep for Sprint. So a lot of the electronics, cell phones, laptops, tablets, all that sort of stuff. Been married for 2 years, 2.5 years now. My wife's name's Katie. We have two pet babies. We have a cat and a red bone hound dog. And then we're also going to have a little girl on the way in January. So pretty excited about that.
Congrats! That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. We're pretty stoked about it. So getting the room ready and painting and going through all that jazz. So, but we're pretty pumped about it. Outside of that, hobbies, just started taking up a little bit of golf. My body's not what it used to be for baseball and basketball when I was younger. So I gotta find something competitive to do. And I went out for the first time on my birthday, and I did okay, but the competitive side of me just wants to be really good. So not like I strive to be a tiger, but I know I'll never be that way. But that's just my mindset. But yeah, so outside of that, hanging with friends and family and doing a little bit of golf now and then reselling. So we stay pretty busy. I stay busy and Katie stays busy. So
Cool. And adding a kid into the mix of that will keep it even
yeah,
even busier.
yeah,
So,
I just bought a day planner because I feel like I'm gonna need it. So
yeah.
I just started scheduling out my day because I'm just so busy. Like I'm doing reselling, I'm listing and taking pictures at night, and I'm meeting people in between, when I'm off work and on the weekends. So it's nonstop for us. We hardly ever sit down and
Yeah.
watch TV unless it's late at night. We might watch a show or something like that. But
Yeah.
other than that, we stay busy.
Cool. Well, good. Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, give me a little bit of, I guess some of the stuff that because you've said you've been into it for a little while. You finished the course a couple months ago. Tell me a little bit about what you started selling. Some of your background of what you were selling, and I guess yeah, pretty much that.
Yep. So I got started selling stuff around the house like most people do, and I definitely recommend that for you. Even if you have the cash to go out and buy stuff, to just start selling stuff around the house, get a feel for the process of it. So it was about a year and a half ago. I knew people were doing this. They were going to thrift shops and flea markets and just flipping items. So I started getting on YouTube and following some of the people on there, and what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, and how the shipping works and all that sort of stuff. So I go to a local thrift shop and I just buy a ton of clothes, not knowing that clothing is like super competitive because I didn't have a ton of money. So I was like, oh, I can get this shirt for, $1.50, and then I can sell it for 20, not knowing, it won't sell through for like 2 or 3 months because it's just so competitive unless you're dealing with high end brands. So that kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth at first because I was like, well, this isn't working like it should. So then I just again started finding stuff around the house. I think the very first thing I sold was a pair of Hard Rock Cafe drumsticks that were
Okay.
sealed. I think I listed it for like $15 and it sold the same day. I think it sold it with like in 30 minutes.
Wow.
So I was at that point, whether it was a sign or whatever it was, like, holy crap, this is gonna work. Like the very first item, I was still listing items as these drumsticks sold, which was kind of crazy. So, but yeah, I didn't really get heavy into actually purchasing inventory from thrift shops, flea market, Facebook, and all that until this year, really. I kind of did it a lot on the side, more so on the side a year and a half ago than I
Okay.
do now. I mean, I'm still part-time, but I was like once a week part-time back then where, I do something once a week and then I was done. Just a little bit of kind of the bad taste in my mouth from the first purchase
Yep.
and not really knowing the business. I'd have been in businesses before and I ran an instruction company for baseball in the past. It's just a different product business and cash intensive business versus a service business, totally different. So I had to get used to that. And then transitioned and taking it more seriously, really trying to scale and really trying to invest profits and keep the business growing.
Cool. Cool. Well, definitely. What would you say you're doing now after you've done the course? Has your inventory changed, or are you still doing the same stuff, or what are you using now, or what are you buying now for inventory?
Yeah, so it's radically changed. I had the clothing that I had a year and a half ago just sitting around, so I just decided to put that up and just to get rid of it. So I don't really buy a lot of clothing. If I do buy clothing, it's going to be like jerseys, authentic jerseys. I know that space pretty well, but it's very rare. Even in my area, thrift shops, Ross, TJ Maxx, any of that kind of stuff, there's really no jerseys anywhere. So I don't really have a lot of clothing. My inventory now is a lot more electronics. That's my bread and butter. So my focus right now is finding something I can make $20 net profit on after fees and shipping and all that, and be able to sell through that inventory ideally within 2 weeks. But what I'll do is I'll sit on an item for 60 days before I auction it off. Kind of a little thing that I came up with was I price all my items ending in like 99, so like 19.99, 29.99. If it doesn't sell in 30 days, I will mark it down a penny, so 29.98, and then I just know if it doesn't sell. If I have anything that didn't sell that ends in an 8, I just auction it off. So I'm not holding on to inventory
Okay.
for like 6 months or a year or anything like that. So
Awesome.
drastically changed since I started. But it's definitely proved to be a good change. So
Cool. That's awesome. Well, this is the big thing. Give me a couple of your recent flips, a couple things, and that's what people connect the most with is some stories.
yeah.
What have you sold recently, and some profits that you've made that you can share with other people?
So recent flips, off the top of my head, I bought a one of those Garmin Forerunner 225 GPS watches. It's a GPS, it's a heart rate monitor, does a lot of things. I bought it on Facebook, I believe, for $50. I think they had it listed for 75, and then I pretty much anything on Facebook I automatically go half on. So I think I offered $40, and the lady came back and was like, "Oh, I have the box 50 question mark." And I'm like, okay, I'll do 50. So bought it on a yeah, bought it on I think a Sunday evening, and then listed it that night, and it sold the next morning to some guy in California for $120.
Wow.
I took a best offer. I think I had it listed 149.99, knowing I probably would get a best offer,
Yeah.
and I sold it 120. I think I made profit after fees and everything, made $50 on that, which is great because it cost me, it's first class shipping. It's a win-win. It's $277 to ship, and it gets to California in 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
and I get a good feedback out of it. So those kind of things I love to look for because I don't have to do priority if it's under 16 ounces, and I get high profit. Um, a heavier item that I had that about, which was a graphic scanner, that I bought a couple months ago, is probably going to be my best flip ever, because this guy was clearing out an estate. One of his family members had passed.
Okay.
So I initially went over there because he had some computer ink, which is another bread and butter of mine, the toners and the original packaging. So I went over there and he just had stuff everywhere. Just all on the floor and everything. So I asked him, I was like, well, are you trying to sell all this stuff? And he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of it. So I came back in a couple weeks because he went on vacation, but he had this graphic scanner. He had a couple audio interfaces. He had a printer, some other photo printer. I can't remember. It was a total of 6 items. I got all 6 for $100.
Wow.
and the graphics scanner alone sold for $400.
Wow.
So it came out to be like $17 in cost for the piece, and sold it for 400. It cost me like 60 to ship it. I was pumped because as soon as I got it, I was like, yes. And then I looked at the shipping, and this some dude in California. So of course it's going to the farthest place away. So it cost me like $60 shipping. I did FedEx Smart Post, but profit on that was like 250.
That's nice.
So yeah, those are probably my two biggest ones. I flipped a radar detector. I bought a Escort passport. It was generation 1, which they discontinued, which any discontinued item's awesome.
Yeah.
So I bought it for $80. I think I sold that for, I want to say 250 or 300, 200 or 300. I can't remember.
Nice.
So another light item. It had everything. He had the case. He had the hookups. He had stuff that he had bought as accessories. So I just bundled it all in one and sold it. I want to say it was $300. I want to say it was $200.
Nice.
So it was like $100 or so in profit on that.
Cool. No, those are great, man. Great flips for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, well, let me get to the course. Can you tell me one thing that jumped out at you when you went through the course, or your number one takeaway from the course? What can you tell us about that?
So I think the biggest thing that jumped out at me from the course that separates your teaching from a lot out there is that I'm pretty sure you're the only guy that's like, hey, don't be afraid to ship freight. And so most people, any reseller you YouTube, they're going to say, try the first class, put it in a flat rate envelope or a flat rate box. If it's 5 pounds or 10 pounds more, forget about it. And if that graphic scanner, I would have never looked at that had I not taken the course. So I would have just bypassed it as like, that thing's huge. It's heavy. It probably weighed without packing easily 30 pounds or so. So it was enormous, and I would have never picked that up if I had not taken the course. So I think that was probably the biggest thing for me, was the shipping side of it and not being afraid to get those heavy items and just ship it off. It's not that hard. It's not difficult. Just make sure you pack it right. I haven't done freight yet. I don't have the space for some of those items, like giant thing like that patio set that you sold recently. Yeah. I don't have space to hold that stuff, but from the way it's outlined in the course, freight's pretty simple. So
it is, and a lot of people are scared to do it, but yeah, that's awesome that you took the step out there. Even 30 pounds, to me, 30 pounds that's light class, because most of our stuff that we do, we're dealing with 100 to 1,000 pounds. And but the smaller stuff that you make great, has a great profit on that. That's still awesome. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and nobody out there, and that's the thing, nobody out there is teaching that. And if you have, thousands upon thousands of people looking to do this as part-time or full-time, and everyone out there teaching it is saying, hey, focus on the light stuff. Well, there's opportunity in the heavy stuff that no one's focusing on.
That's right. So yeah, and we have talked about that. You're limited with your space right now. Once you get into a spot where you can have some more space, then you'll probably jump back into some bigger stuff too. So that's super exciting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, what are you currently working on right now to further your business, or, make some more profits? Or are you working? Can you give anybody any tips on, some stuff that you're trying to go through to help your business out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me right now that I'm focusing on, I'm kind of shifting a little bit of a business model, which is my product criteria is I need to make at least $20 profit after fees and shipping and PayPal and all that. So then I can reinvest profits. But more importantly is the sell-through rate of that item. So like I try to buy pretty much anything I can on reselling and eBay optimization and all that kind of stuff. And, there's sellers out there who will recommend, hey, if it's sold on eBay, buy it and it'll eventually sell, which is true. It will eventually sell. But if you're in a position like most people where you're in a cash intensive business like this and you need the cash, you need turnover quickly if you don't have that cash reserve. So I have some capital saved up from the previous flips, but I'm not taking anything out of the business. I'm putting it all back into inventory. So I made some bad buys because I listened to some of those sellers who said, hey, if you can buy it for $1 and sell it for $7 or $8 or $9, then do it. And it's like, okay, well, I can buy, hundreds of items like that. And then when you finally do sell those items and I have a spreadsheet and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I made $3. Like, it's just, to me, that's not worth it unless you're a huge seller, you got the space, and you have the capital. So for me, yeah, I mean, for me, I would just recommend that. Oh, sorry, I got some feedback.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Cool. It must be on my end then. I'll just hold on.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it must have been on my end for the microphone. But yeah, I would just recommend that you look for items that you can make a decent profit on, and then also pay attention to the sell-through rate in the completed listings on eBay. I mean, if that's set up for the past 30 days, so if you're looking at your sold listings and you see the item that you're about to buy is only sold a few times in the past 30 days, are you willing to sit on it? It's up to you. For me, I'm buying items that might cost me $40, $50, $60, $80, but I'm selling it for, $200.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure my sell-through rate is quick because I don't want to be stuck on $80.
Yeah.
Whereas if I buy, like I bought, and I don't know if this is a bad buy, but I bought, stuffed animals, like 200 of them for $40. So that's not cash intensive, and I'll make my money back for sure. But it just depends, which way you want to go. Are you willing to, make 50 sales a day and make $3 profit, or make 2 sales a day and you made, $100 profit?
Yeah.
So just depends. That would be my recommendation. And that's what we're doing now in our business, which is we're taking all that profit and basically banking it. And the next step for us is looking into wholesale accounts where we can take it to Amazon, eventually getting into importing from overseas, so that we can get to more of a passive product where, that item, we find a proven product that's sold so many times a month, and then we're going to basically import that product and differentiate ourselves, and then create more of a passive product where we know that specific product sells 20 times a month or 30 times a month. So that's the goal. That's probably, ideally we'd like to be there in the next year, probably, where we're actually importing items. It's very doable in the flip side if you know how to buy the items right. So.
Yeah, cool. Well, man, that's great advice. That's awesome. And I want to thank you again for coming on and sharing some tips and some stuff that you've gone through. And it's been great talking to you. So thank you again for coming on. And we'll keep our relationship going. And I'm excited to see what ends up happening and how you end up progressing. So thank you so much.
Man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course.